Hi, friends. We at GLC would like to take a quick moment to thank you for watching our programs on this platform, and we'd like to ask you for a little favor. Would you please go beneath this video and click the subscribe button? Did you know that by simply subscribing to the GLC YouTube channel, you can help us financially support the programs on this platform? You'll need to be signed into YouTube beforehand, but if not, simply click the subscribe button and YouTube will automatically walk you through the steps to sign in or to create an account. By taking these simple steps, you will not only ensure that you continue to receive our unique programming and gain instant access to the hundreds of videos we post, but more importantly, you'll also be telling YouTube that GLC's content is worth watching and promoting. Likewise, if you enjoyed a specific program, please click the thumbs up button below, which also helps inform YouTube that this is a program worth recommending. Finally, once you have logged in and subscribed, please click the notification bell below in order to receive announcements when we post new content. As usual, feel free to post your questions and comments in the comments section below. We always love hearing from our friends and viewers. Again, thank you for watching and supporting God's Learning Channel. We couldn't spread the message of the gospel without you. Be blessed, and we hope you enjoy the show. Hey, welcome back. It's Chad Prather live with yours truly. So good to see your face, Chad Prather. How you doing today, my man?
It's been too long, buddy. I'm doing great. You look good. Every time my phone goes off and I get the little ding and there's a text message from you, my heart jumps a little bit because I'm excited. We don't talk enough. We don't get to spend enough time. So I'm happy to be with you today.
Well, buddy, I'm grateful, and you always look great, man. You know, no one can rock a cowboy hat like you. Meeting you on the set of The Chosen. Gosh, how many years ago was that? But
that had to be right. That had to be about 5 years ago.
Oh my gosh, Chad. Just felt like, there's not a word in the English language for old friends who just met, but you felt like an old friend, brother. And I believe in you and your heart and your humor and what's going on. So, hey, catch everybody up. I see the background there. Cool background. The Chad Prather show. And of course, we want to direct people to the website as well. And that's watchchad.com, correct?
That's correct. I always say that is the most vain URL on the planet. Watch Chad. Don't know who knows what you're going to watch Chad doing, but that's it. I tell you, Brent, a lot's going on. You know, I am in now the 7th year of the Chad Prather Show podcast. You know, I started doing that thing at the kitchen table. It took off. It blew up in a big way. We wound up finding a home at Blaze TV.
Wow.
In fact, I think I was doing a shoot for Blaze when I met you on the set of The Chosen.
Yeah.
And so that was 5 or 6 years ago.
Man, time flies.
Yeah, it does fly, man. It's crazy how fast. And the older we get with all the stuff flying at us with technology and cell phones and emails, it just seems to fly faster. But I was with the Blaze for 5 years. It got to a point where I said, I want to get back to the roots of podcasting, just being able to sit around and have conversations and preach a little bit to people, just because to me, it's always been therapy. I could just get it off my chest. I'd like to say it's a cheap therapy, but by the time you buy cameras and lights and build sets and things like that, I'd probably be on a leather couch with some strange guy ask me, how does that make you feel? But, we're having a blast, man. I built this thing. I call it the cave. We've got multiple walls here that we can shoot up against and just say whatever we want to say. I'm working with some of the best people on the planet. We used to have everything right there in-house at the Blaze, and the Blaze is a wonderful group. I'm still a contributor with the Blaze. My dear friends are there. It was not a bad parting at all. They didn't want me to go, and I wrestled with tears over leaving, and so we kept the good relationship. But now, man, we've got a production team that are some are in-house. We've got some in Dallas, some in Seattle, some in South Africa, and it's amazing how technology helps you produce. And I'm so proud of this team that we've been able to assemble to put this thing together. We call it independent. It's really not. These folks are some of the best in what they do. And so I'm excited about the future of, quote, independent Chad Prather Show. Having fun with it.
Well, or more like international Chad Prather show. I mean, you got Seattle, you got Dallas, and then South Africa. Tell us
Yeah,
about that, man.
every show. My editor is in South Africa,
All
which
right.
is cool. Which is cool because if you think about it, while we're sleeping, he's up working. And so he's getting everything done, and he's phenomenal, and it's just amazing. We upload every episode. We were doing 4 episodes a week on the Blaze, Monday through Thursday night. Now we backed it off just to Tuesday and Thursday night. So we're still getting in the swing of things. We've done 5 episodes, I think, at this point, and I think it's good to back off a little bit because it gives me the opportunity to
Yeah.
really be more deliberate. That's my word of the year. I don't do resolutions, but I do words of the year.
There you go.
And my word for 2024 is deliberate. I want to be very deliberate in everything I do. I don't want to just throw things against the wall and see what sticks.
Right.
I'm getting an interesting feedback from the shows. People are watching them and they're saying, we're going to have to go back and watch this again because we're really trying to absorb some of the things you say. And I'm like, come on, man. It's like I'm pooling my ignorance here. It's not that profound. But we're digging into some topics that are controversial, which is not unusual for me, but saying some things that kind of slap people upside the head and say, okay, it's time to pay attention to common sense and critical thinking. So I hope that we're accomplishing that and having a little bit of fun along the way. Because if it's not fun, I don't want to do it.
Well, Chad, you've always told the truth in comedy. That's one of the only ways you can actually get the truth out these days is put it in the comedy form, and everyone knows what's what, but you're able to laugh along with it. But I'm just excited for you. So proud of you. I saw you first coming across the feeds on Facebook years ago, and how that just caught wildfire, and your observations, man. And then I didn't know that you were a gifted musician and singer as well. And I just thought, man, I want to know that guy. And then of course meeting you on The Chosen, you're the same guy on camera as you are off as you are on. You're Chad, and now you're able to speak your heart and like you said, get back to the roots of the podcast. I just concluded a national news show, 31 million households, and I was depressed, man, because people just don't seem to care. The ones that do care, they're more in the Southwest, and so it's just nice to be known for what you're for, but still speaking the truth.
Yeah, that's
this
a good point,
yeah
Brent.
yeah
I've always said that I've tried to fake it. I've tried to fake it, and I discovered that I'm not good at trying to be somebody else. I usually mess that up. It's very inauthentic by the very definition of the word. But I have had to reinvent myself a number of times because the nature of social media changes. As I said, just podcasting. We started out sitting at a table in the kitchen, podcasting and recording with an iPhone, recording us, and now we're sending feeds to South Africa to get things
wow
edited. So it's crazy. You just have to be. I've always said there's an old adage. I wish I knew who said it first, but I've held on to this for years. It says, "Living things grow, and growing things change, and
wow
changing things challenge us." When I was a baby, people like to kiss my feet. I can't find anybody that'll kiss my feet because living things grow and growing things change and changing things challenge us. So, that's sort of life. You got to grow and change with it, which nobody likes to change. That's for sure.
Well, I have an idea where you can get your feet kissed. I was taking my friend, before an event in Amarillo, to get a massage. Well, because of weather, the mall, massage thing was closed. So I thought, well, they have a branch down the street. We walk in the door and it's dark, and this Oriental lady comes out, beautiful lady. She goes, "It's okay. It's okay." I was like, "No, it ain't okay." But hey, I bet if you go there, you might be able to get your
Anything
feet.
goes.
Yeah. Chad, when I go to watchchad.com, it's a great website. It's user friendly, folks. Chad is he's just a fantastic guy, and I want everybody to get behind him. But I mean, you got tour dates, book. Hey man, Am I Crazy? That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. When did this come out?
That came out, I think we're a couple of years out from it now. Am I Crazy was an unapologetic patriot takes on the insanity of today's woke world. I
Wow.
didn't quite understand how prophetic that book was
No
going to
kidding.
be. I tell people to get the book, if nothing else, just to read the first 20 pages of the introduction in the first chapter, because it's really a telltale sign of where we're living. And I've got some other writings out. I've discovered I don't want to go the publisher route again, although they're great folks over there. It just wasn't for me. I want to put
Sure.
some things out and self-publish going forward because I think there is a way as you alluded to use humor to help people, specifically men. I think, masculinity and femininity in a big way is under attack. It has
Oh
been
yeah.
for a long time. We're just starting to recognize certain signs of it and the results and consequences that come from it. But I think men are by and large, they're depressed. They feel weak. They feel out of control. They don't feel like they're masters of their destiny anymore. So I've been writing a lot about that. We've been focusing a lot on those topics on the show.
Right.
Not that others aren't doing it and doing it better than me, but it's something that's passionate in my heart because of the journey that I've been through. We were talking before we started taping about some of our journey, and
Yeah.
it's hard to be a man. I look at my dog sometime and I get envious. I'm like, you wake up, you go outside, you poop on the grass. One of my dogs, her little princess butt won't touch wet grass.
We've got one of those.
You know what I mean? So
I know what you mean.
I look at the dog and I'm like, somebody feeds you, somebody pets you, you come around and you look at me while I'm eating my chicken fingers until I pay the dog tax and give you a little bit. Like, it's not a bad life. I mean, it's not that long of a life, but dadgum, you lived in utopia the whole time you were
Hey,
here.
can't beat it, man.
We're dealing with things from divorces and debt and the IRS and
Yeah.
taxes, paying bills, and the kids are off at college or starting their career. I've discovered my kids, who are all adults now, they were not expensive when they were kids. Now that they're adults, they're expensive. Like now I'm living all of their lives at this point, paying for all of their blown tires and their new cars, and it's insane.
Well, it is, but you know what? In all of this fog of war, we can return back to the ancient paths. I used to have men's events called Band of Brothers, and this is a real sword, by the way. But when you said that, I thought I'm going to encourage Chad real quick. A lot of people are going through a process of a sword, the fire, the hammering, the cool water. We all want the cool water. We've been raised to be weak in this culture. But this beautiful double-edged, razor-sharp, strong sword, been folded 1,000 times, they claim, it's kind of what we are. And we got to return back to the ancient paths, the code of knighthood. Live pure, speak truth, right, wrong, follow the king. Live pure, speak truth, right, wrong, follow the king. Any young man does that, he'll be successful. Any older man does that, he'll be successful. And of course, Chad, you know what? I've observed you. And I think that you were all four of these things, but there's only four roles that men need to worry about. That's king, warrior, leader, lover. Provide like a king. So much more than money. I know guys who have a lot of money, they're miserable. Some guys who have money, they're happy. But provide means provision. What's on the horizon? Provide like a king. What kind of atmosphere are you providing? Protect like a warrior. Vogue magazine wants sweet and sensitive, yet when there's a bump in the night, you want a warrior, right? And then, lead like a leader. You're going to do what you're asking your family to do, and then love like a lover. We all love that lovey love, but love is what happens when you're not with your loved one. Love is what happens when times may be rocky, and of course we know that, no greater love has that than that guy that has laid down his life for his friends. But, in your travels and in your music, and I want to talk about your music too, man, you're still the same guy, Chad. And at the end of the day, no matter what the name of the show is, no matter what the platform is, that's Chad Prather. And when I hear your name, I smile. And when I say your name, they smile. So, brother, you're doing something right. Now, your tour coming up, tell us about your tour, and let's go into your music too.
Yeah, I've been doing stand-up comedy for over a decade now, and just out on the road all over the country, and going to a lot of places around this country. And then we didn't really quit when COVID hit. They tried to shut everybody down. We took about 5 months off, and then we were able to go back into the comedy clubs, because technically comedy clubs are restaurants. And as we know, as long as people were sitting down, distanced, and masked up, they were able to let people in the building, which was the dumbest time in human history, if you ask me. But we were out there, we were going. But one of the things we did to reinvent ourselves, and I say we like I'm schizophrenic with multiple personalities, but I've got so many people on the team now. And one of the things that happened was I started embracing a little more of the music, because I have a lot of musical friends, a lot of musicians who couldn't work during COVID.
Right.
And I started expanding that. I said, you guys need to go on the road with me, because I can get you paid. I've got an audience, and you can go out there and do what you're doing. And so out of that, we developed a band. We developed some 3-part harmony with our guys. We call them the Ragamuffins. And we started I've always incorporated music into comedy. My thing was, it wouldn't it be cool instead of telling a joke if you could sing the joke? And so I've always done that. And we've put out albums doing that. And I never took music seriously. I always tell people, I said, I come from a family of cowboys, but I'm the least cowboy of all of them. And I come from a family of musicians, and I'm the least musician of all of them. But I'm the only person that was ever able to make any money off of those two things out of
Uh-huh.
everybody in my family. So, the music part of it got recognized by some folks in Nashville who were starting a non-woke, uncancelable record label. Kind
Wow.
of getting back to the roots of music without the fear of cancellation. You could
Right.
really go back and do music that touches people in the heart and speaks the truth. And so my friend Chris Wallen, who's a multi platinum songwriter, he's written some incredible songs for everybody from Garth Brooks to Kenny Chesney to you name
Wow.
it. And a number of other guys got together and they started this thing called Based Records. It is based, but it's BASTE, like you would a chicken leg, you know. And
Hey.
so, but it's Based Records, and Chris is the AR head of that. Matt Azrieli is the president and founder of that deal. He's done a lot of stuff. He's Canadian, but he understands music. He's a musician himself. And so we started this thing. We put out a song at Christmas called "I'd Be Jolly Too," which was written by my buddy Win Varble. That basically says, ask the question, why is Santa Claus happy all year round? Well, if you knew where all the naughty girls lived, you'd be jolly too. And so it's kind of an old joke, but it's a fun song. And we've got a song coming out we got a song coming out here in a couple of weeks, Brent, that uh, you're gonna love this song. This is an old school country song. It's got some solid beat to it, but it's called Famous Again. And the premise of the song is let's make Jesus famous again.
Hey.
And
All
it, and
right.
it really and it really doesn't end around as country music is supposed to do. It surprises you with the lyric with a double meaning. You don't really know where the song is going until it hits you in the face.
Wow.
Because again, we were better off as a society, as a culture, when Jesus was famous and was
Right.
talked about freely. And this is a song that people are going to love. I mean, the biggest heathen in the world is going to fall in love with this song because it's just good music. It doesn't preach at you, but it's going to be a lot of fun when this song comes out. We're going to market it nationally to radio stations, see what they'll do with it. Because again, we're not the group of people that everybody looks at and says, "Oh, we can't wait to get our hands on the next project they put out there," because we tend to fall politically and culturally a little bit on the right side of the aisle, and you don't fall very far right of that center before you're getting called an extremist and
Oh, no
all of a
kidding.
hodgepodge of labels and names that are very unfair. But that's the world we live in. So what we're doing is we're kind of using the troll tactic of putting it back in their face and saying, listen, I can get together Grammy winners, I can get the best songwriters and musicians in the world, and we can put out products that remind you that folks like us are still here producing music and comedy and entertainment that the rest of the world just isn't willing to give you because they're too afraid of being canceled.
Oh, music to my ears. Well, Chad, there's only one thing I'll disagree with you on, and that's this. You are one of those guys that people want to know, man, when does something new come out? Because you've won the trust of America. I mean, you've stood your ground, even when it
Yeah, I
wasn't
think that
popular.
Yeah, I think, Brent, I think that goes back to just being real. I
Yeah.
think it just goes back to being genuine. The biggest compliment that I've received over the years is people say, you're genuine. And again, I haven't always been. There's been times where I've tried to fake it. I thought if I could be somebody else, maybe I could be a little more successful. And that's never done anything but get me into trouble and stress and anxiety. It's hard to be somebody else. It really is. And so I'm at a point in life. I'm 51 years old. I'm old enough now where I just go to sleep on the toilet and visit the bed 5 times a night. It's easier. It's more efficient. If I get out of bed at 2 a.m. to go pee, I take the phone with me in case I have a heart attack and I've already pre-dialed 911. All I got to do is hit one more one and go send, and maybe the paramedics will come get me. But dude, you get to that point and you're not old, but you're older. Things
Oh,
are
yeah.
falling off, but they are falling apart. And we live in pain. I tried to run through the airport the other day and I made it, I think, 15 feet. So it's that part of life where you start to analyze the past.
Mhm.
Someone once said, if you don't do dumb things when you're young, you won't have good stories when you're old.
Here you go.
I did plenty of dumb things. And now that I'm older, I know I'm not old, I know I'm older. starting to feel it, and you start to look towards the fact that you probably have less life to live than
Mhm.
you have already lived, and we're not promised tomorrow. So I want to make every day count, and I want to be comfortable in my own skin.
Yeah.
That's hard because we're not always comfortable in our own skin, right?
Right.
There's certain things about us that God does not intend to take to heaven. Like a big religious logical word, that process of refining you is not always fun. My mentor Wade Trimmer would just say, quit complaining and get back on the cross and let him finish the job.
Oh, wow.
But it's not always a fun process to submit to that. And so, we're men, and here we are. And back to your, you talk about being a knight, and you talk
Mm.
about those pillars and principles of life. You know, in a simple way, the way I look at it is men tend to relate to the world based on how well they handle their work and their women.
Right.
Okay. Those two things fall apart. You talked about being a lover, you talked about being a king and a warrior and a fighter, and just being that laborer in so many things that the world has for us. And so many men are struggling in
Yeah,
those
they are.
areas these days. They don't know who they are. They don't know if they chose the right path in life. They've lost their sense of identity because they don't know their history, and therefore they have no sense of destiny, what's to come. And they're worried because they know they're not going to leave behind a legacy. It's so, it's a mission. It really is, to take these things. Now, for me, I tried to take the creative route and say, okay, how can I take common sense and wrap it in humor, make it an easier pill to swallow? So that turned into comedy. I said, how can we sing a song that relays a truth? And that turned into the music aspect of it. The podcast sort of speaks for itself. As I said earlier, this is my therapy sessions to be able to get things off my chest and speak to other guests about their struggles and what they're doing. So, I'd love to say I have any of the answers. I don't. I'm just one of those fellow travelers, like we all are, that's kind of walking through. I think the world's a mystery. And I think we have to keep on analyzing the shadows on the wall, as well as asking a lot of questions,
Right.
instead of puffing our chest out and thinking we have all the answers.
Well, you're living your design. You know, if you were to take three circles and they all intersect, circle number one, your dreams as a child. Circle number two, your successes. Circle number three, your talents. There's a place where they meet in the middle, and you're you're leading your design. You're an encourager. You also see the humor in things, but you also speak the truth. And you say what you mean, and you mean what you say, and that's a way to live life. I don't have to have a good memory. I just tell the truth. I was called into a meeting over a year ago, and we heard you said something, and of course, I'm thinking, hey, this isn't high school, and I sat right by the guy, and I said, you know what, I don't know what you heard, but if I said it, I'm in it, and I stand by it.
Yeah.
And
I
because
like that.
we're men, we mean what we say, and we say what you mean. But your name Chad is English. And the name Chad in English literally means battle warrior. Did you know that?
I did know that.
Battle warrior,
Did know
Chad.
that.
Mine's firebrand, sword, and proud one. And God knows that didn't work out too good. But Chad, you know what? You're also, you're a battle warrior. You say what you mean what you say. And then, of course, when you go overseas, when I go to Egypt, when I go to Germany, they all want to be cowboys,
Yeah.
and of course, even Saddam would watch executions with his cowboy hat and boots and smoke a cigar. And that's not a good example, but all over the world, people want to be cowboys because I believe, and I heard this said by an old friend, that the symbol of the cowboy is the symbol of justice. And I think that God is bringing justice to a lot of places this year.
Yeah.
And on. So I just love what you do and love who you are, love you. And, hey, you're going to be in Tulsa, my old stomping grounds, in November. Good night, Beaumont, Texas in May. I saw you're going to be in Waco in March. Ted Nugent lives around there. I don't know if you met Ted or not, but
I know Ted. Ted doesn't leave the ranch, that's for sure.
yeah,
If you want to talk with Ted or do a project with Ted, you got to go to Ted.
no kidding, man. You're going to be in Van Buren, Arkansas in February. Oh, well, let me tell you something there. And all over. Hey, watchchad.com. Those are the tour dates. and you definitely want to get behind this. Chad, are there places where people, I know when I click on music, there's your I Be Jolly too. And y'all shut up, and of course, quarantine life, and is there a place where people can just financially contribute to your podcast or advertise with your
Yeah,
podcast?
the biggest thing that people can do for us is to support it. Go to where podcasts are offered and leave a rating or a review.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell people, give the 5 stars because that's what we deserve. But even if you want to leave the 1 or 2 or 3 stars, give me an explanation as to why you did it. But even that helps us. It helps us in those vanity rankings, which pushes us even higher. I think right now in our category, we're ranked about 50 worldwide. And so I'm proud of that. I'm thankful that we're recognized. There's so many podcasts out there that just don't get the traction, don't get listened to. And
Right.
so what we encourage people to do is watch the show. I know a lot of people don't like going to YouTube. YouTube is a bad word, but that is one of those places where
Yeah.
advertisers look to see if the thing is relevant. So, you just search Chad Prather and you'll find my channel and then listen to it where podcasts are offered. I'm trying to be more sensitive and accountable to myself because I've had so many women who say, listen, we listen to you talk to us while we're doing laundry or working around the house, or like, we have you in our ear. And I'm
Love
like,
it.
okay, maybe I should use a little more sultry voice, or I don't know if I'm capable of anything like that, but man, what a great life, Brant. I mean, I've worked, I grew up laying bricks. I grew up
Yeah.
playing ball, grew up
Yeah.
with, working hard, man, and went to school and didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, kept on working hard. And then you wind up in a place where you can make a living by running your mouth. It's an incredible world we're living in, dude.
It is,
Uh,
man.
that we can do that. And so I tell you, between the music, between the social media, the podcasting, the live touring, the writing, so many different things that I have going on. Plus, I ran for office a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I remember.
Don't push me to do that again. That was wild. But I'm
I
still
would have voted for you.
politically active. Thank you. I'm still outspoken. I get invitations all the time to go and speak at events. It's a busy thing. It's a fine line. It's a razor's edge to walk because every person that you meet knows you from a different platform or a different,
Uh-huh.
they met you in a different way, whether it was music or comedy or politics. It's so you kind of have to walk that line. It's a stressful one, I think, for a guy that has a hard time multitasking. But man, what a blessing it is. It's a tremendous, tremendous blessing to be able to live this life.
It is. It is, brother. I get to promote great people and like yourself.
Well, thank you for
Um,
doing that. Brant, I'll tell you, I don't know if people realize this or not, but you are an encourager. You're a
huh.
networker. And what I mean by that is, when Jesus told his disciples to throw the net over on the other side of the boat, and it says that they pulled the nets up and it was filled with fish to the point where the knots were breaking. Those knots, that's the network. How well is your net put
Mm.
together? It all depends on how well those knots are tied. And you're
Wow.
one of those knot tiers. You're one of those, you're connecting people, and it's a great thing to do. It's a gift. I don't think people do it naturally. And you're an encourager, man. When I read your text messages that come into me, you just naturally let that stuff ooze out of you
Mhm.
because it's inside of you. And that's such a blessing. And I don't know,
Wow.
I don't know how many people truly understand or realize that, but man, what a gift. What a gift you are.
Well, brother, that's a big statement there, and
I wrote it out all morning long. I was practicing through. It's like maybe I can get him to cry.
well, you know what, Chad, it means the world to me. It really does. People think that because if you're on television or on a platform, that you don't ever have any problems or down days or you're never discouraged. But you know what? The best way to have a friend is to be one.
Mm.
And when you're maybe uncertain of the future and regretful of the past, who's standing beside you? It's your friends. People help people who help people. You encourage people. You make them laugh. Laughter really is healing for the bones. You also inform people, and you've always been doing that. But man, you're just being Chad, and I'm grateful for you. I'm honored to know you. Thanks for joining me today, my man.
Thank you, brother. Always a pleasure.